Here's another VHS DVD combo unit with a remote. And that was $10, just like the last one I bought fairly recently. This is an Emerson. Not sure why I keep buying these things, except for, they're not making VCRs anymore, and there's a whole lot of people with VHS tapes out there that still want to play them. So, in fact, I just digitized a couple of old tapes for a friend of mine because he said he didn't have a VCR anymore, so maybe I'll give him one of these when I give him his tapes back. But, when you get these with the remote, sometimes you'll pay, $2 or $3 just for a remote at a thrift store, so $10 for a VCR DVD combo, not a bad deal, if it works. That's what we're going to find out right now. Okay, I cheated a little bit. I just went and plugged this in, and yep, it works fine. Kind of a cheaply made unit. This is Emerson branded, which is not high quality, at least in the end of their run unit. And this one's made by Funai, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think all the late VCRs were made by Funai, at least the VCR mechanism. Now the remote, unfortunately the back was missing off the battery compartment. But I put new batteries in and the remote doesn't work. Not sure why. But it's a very basic remote. You see it just had, play and fast forward, rewind, eject. Not much on there really. So you can get a universal remote and duplicate that pretty easily. But the DVD plays and the VCR plays. So what I will do for this video is really just take this apart and do a good cleaning of the inside and inspection. And so that if you need one of these and you're looking for one at the thrift store, this is what you do to clean them up and make sure they're okay. And here we got the top off, and this thing is very clean. It looks like it's hardly been used. Maybe the VCR hasn't been used. Maybe it's just the DVD they were using. But here's the one thing that I do recommend on if you buy these later model units is that you get rid of this little self-cleaning thing. It's just a little piece of foam, and what happens is as this arm here moves up, it kind of moves that little lever over and has this little piece of foam contact the spinning heads to clean the heads. Well, as that foam deteriorates, it really messes up, that dirties the heads rather than cleans them. So, and these things are about 20 years old or so. So usually the foam, this one isn't too bad, but usually that foam goes bad. So you either just get in here and take the foam off, or on a lot of these you could just pop this little whole mechanism out. Just what I'm going to do. I'll just pull that out and toss it. So if the heads get dirty in normal use, you just clean them the way I'm going to show you right now, which is really pretty easy. It's really, you take the top off. That is probably the most work. And they used to make head cleaning cartridges that you could just stick in there and that would clean the heads, but I don't know how well those worked, and they're not really available anymore. But this is pretty easy. I'll show you the process. Now, before we start cleaning, I just want to do a quick inspection, and I checked the belt here out here on the loading mechanism. That seems to be nice and tight, not stretched out, and working properly. And then underneath the unit here, there's something called a mode switch, which can get dirty and stop functioning. And the mode switch really tells the brains of the VCR what it's doing, basically. Is it tape in? Is it on play? Is it on rewind? So that it knows if you select, if you want to do something, it has to know what position the mechanism is in before it allows that to happen. So if your VCR starts eating tapes, or you put one in, it spits it right back out, lots of things like that, then it's usually a dirty mode switch, and you have to remove this tape mechanism to get to that switch. And I won't do it on this one because this one's working, but I've got other videos that show how to do that. And there's a YouTube guy, NorCal715, I think is his name, who does a lot of VCR work and shows a lot of mode switch cleaning videos, so check him out too. So there's this little mechanism right down here too. It's got a little kind of an infrared photo emitter that shoots infrared light up through this little prism mechanism. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little wheel here that has some windows in it. And there's a sensor under there that tells that the tape is moving. So if you get symptoms like you plug the tape in, it seems to be moving, but then it stops moving and turns itself off, sometimes it's because it's not sensing that the tape is moving. So this, this may need to be cleaned. This little, it's got like a little prism type thing. It shoots light down there, and also takes light and shoots it out here to these little infrared receivers. One here on each side of the VCR. There's one and there's one. And what that does is senses the end of tape. So at the end of each tape, VCR tape, there's a clear section. So, there's light going through here, and normally the tape is, in this part of the mechanism, and it's blocking that light from going from here out to either side of the VCR. So as the tape ends, then the light can shine through, and this little sensor picks it up, and it tells the mechanism to stop moving because you've reached the end of tape. So on rewind, fast forward, or just normal playing, all those that comes into play and stops tape movement. So if you have tape movement problems, this could be it. Or if you're having real total issues with the VCR where it won't load properly, starts eating the tape, stuff like that, then it's probably the mode switch underneath the VCR that needs to be cleaned. So two things, and this one's working fine, so I'm not going to show that, but really the whole thing is pretty clean, hardly needs cleaning, but I'll go through it just to show how you do it. And if you have problems with the DVD, which I'm not, so I probably won't do anything with it, but you can get to the little laser lens, which is right underneath here. I have to take this circuit board off and then move the carrier back, and then there'll be a small little lens about that big. And you just take some window cleaner without ammonia and just kind of gently clean that with a Q-tip. So since this one's so clean inside, I probably won't do that either, but let's at least give the tape path a quick clean. Alright, got a Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol here, and I'm just going to clean everything that the tape will hit. This is the erase head over here, and then it's going to contact all these rollers here, so you want to just going to clean them up just to see if there's any dirt or residue on those, and there doesn't seem to be. This is the entrance and exit rollers. And over here is the use the other side of that. And this is the audio heads and the control track head. So, and that's for the the non-hi-fi stereo linear audio. There's also, here's the caps in here. You get that clean, and the pinch roller. Again, everything is, this doesn't have any dirt on it at all. It's very clean. Okay. And so be careful here. Now here's the heads. I don't know if you can see them. They're right there. There's a video head and an audio head, a hi-fi audio head. So I'm going to take this now. Be careful with the Q-tips. I'm not cleaning the heads right now. I'm just cleaning this bottom drum. Not really touching the heads. And then I'll clean the upper part of the drum too. just by spinning it counterclockwise. Okay, so to actually clean the heads too, which are very small, I'll try to zoom in and show those. Just get a little piece of paper here and soak it in alcohol and put it on the drum and spin it. Spin it counterclockwise, that's the direction it normally goes. You can see there's no dirt on there. This VCR is super clean. So, here's themselves, and they're very delicate, so you have to be a little careful with those. Here, let me take the camera off the tripod so I can zoom in. Okay, so right there, the video head, and then right there is the hi-fi stereo head, and they're just offset a little bit from each other. And you can tell there's I think the one that has 2 screws is the video head, and then the one that has 1 screw is the audio head, if I remember right. So they're just offset from each other a little bit. So there's one on each side of the drum. One there, and then one on the other side. So the whole drum mechanism is very clean. Everything else looks really good. So let's plug it in and see how a tape moves. Alright, here's my test tape. Let's plug it into the mechanism and see if it loads and plays. It's loading. There's tape getting wrapped around the heads, spinning heads. They spin up right away. And you can see the tape is not moving right now, but if I hit play, and the tape starts moving. I hit stop and fast forward. The tape should start moving quickly. There it goes. I'll hit stop and hit rewind, make sure it goes backwards too. Yep. And I'll hit stop one more time and play. Make sure it still plays. And it is. I'll hit stop and eject. Make sure it spits it out without eating it. Yep. So that seems to be a good working mechanism. So this one's ready for use. DVD works, VCR works, and the remote does not work. So maybe I'll pull that apart and see if I can get it to work. But that's the basics of picking up a old VCR and cleaning it up and putting it back into use. Oops, almost forgot. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.